The idea for this artwork is to paint Amaryllis in 2 layers. One layer will be lighter, it will be a flower in the background, and then I'm going to seal that painting with transparent watercolor ground by Daniel Smith. And once that's dry, I'm going to paint another flower on top of it. So we'll see how that turns out. And then I will try another little surprise technique at the end of the video, so make sure you watch to the end. Here's my very general sketch / tonal drawing. And let's get started. I'm going to lay out my drawing with Derwent Pens bars. I like them because they're water soluble and they don't fight with the watercolor once I apply it, but they kind of blend and work with my watercolor painting. I have a reference photo, but I want to mirror the image. It just works better with my composition. I'm going to switch the bars to show something in the foreground. I actually like those pansies. Maybe I'll do a few yellow pansies as well. And I'm gonna spray my paper lightly from my spray bottle, and I'm gonna pick up the excess water with my roll of paper towels. So for the Amaryllis, I'm going to use a combination of several colors. I have Crimson Lake, I have Scarlet Lake, and I have Opera Pink. I want to get some variety of tone on the petals. I'm not going for exact color, just for interesting effect. And for greens, I'm using a combination of sap green and cascade green with a little bit of ultramarine blue thrown in just for cooler shades. And so my idea is for the background to be pretty light in terms of tonal relationship of the flowers to the foreground. The background will be lighter, and then the flower in the foreground will be a little darker, kind of like it's against the light, backlit a little bit, and we'll see how that turns out. I feel like I need to add a little shadow. I'm going to use ultramarine violet to unify the background painting. And maybe a little splattering with New Gamboge with some yellow, just to kind of show sunlight, like dappled sunlight in the background. And I'm spraying everything pretty liberally from my spray bottle because I wanted it to be soft, watercolory, and kind of fade into the background when I start painting on top of it. Okay, I'm going to let all this dry really well. And now we can apply our watercolor ground. I'm using transparent, obviously, because I want to see my painting. I'm using a big soft brush and I'm spreading it evenly all over my painting. It looks a little milky, but I'm hoping that it will dry clear. This is the first time I'm using this product, so this is all one big experiment for me. Okay, and the instructions said to leave it for between 24 and 48 hours, so I'm going to wait till everything dries properly. So watercolor background is dry. Now I can continue painting on top of it without lifting previous color. I'm going to sketch out another flower and we'll see how that works out. Okay, I want this flower in the foreground to be darker, kind of against the light. So I'm using a little more saturated colors on it. I'm using magenta. I'm using Scarlet Lake with a mixture of cobalt violet. It's not the color of the flower, but it's my artistic decision to use that color to make my painting work. I'm giving those flowers in the foreground harder edges because I want them to come forward, obviously. And I continue using more saturated wash for the leaves. It's Cascade Green with some blues and purples. And as you see, I'm using Cascade Green straight out of the pan. That watercolor ground feels very velvety. It has kind of like cotton texture. And I think it's even easier to work with than paper because it's not as absorbent. But at the same time, the paint goes in smoothly, it doesn't lift. It's just really nice to work on. And I'm gonna work on the design surrounding the flowers a little bit, maybe do a little splattering, some extra leaves here and there, get everything unified with the purple shadows. And I think I'm achieving the effect that I was going for because you can kind of see the background painting through the watercolor wash. I'm getting that layered effect that I wanted. I think the last thing I need to do is to bring back the whites on the foreground flowers because they disappeared a little bit with all the washes that I put down. So I'm going to do that with a bit of white gouache, and I'm also mixing it with a little sap green, just adding highlights here and there. I think I need to darken a few things as well. Now that I put the highlights down, I see that everything is a little the same tone, so I'm going to give even more definition to the foreground flowers. Not everywhere, just in a few accent spots. And it's always good to bring your background into the flower itself, so it's not like cut and pasted on your paper. And the last thing I want to do to this artwork is a little experiment. I bought a set of sparkly glue. It's Elmer's glue. I think it's made for like kindergarten crafts, but I just love all those sparkly pencils and I want to try incorporating them into my watercolor. So I'm going to grab a few and apply in a few spots on my watercolor to give it a little pizzazz and a little shine. A little red on the flowers. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but we will see here in a second, so stay with me. So here it is. I think what this needs is for me to spread those sparkles. I'm gonna take a cheap old brush and smooth out those lines of sparkly glue. Maybe a few more right here on the background. All right, and now we're really done. Here it is. And you take a look at the final result, and I'm gonna run and wash my brush before it gets all stuck together.